Good morning, everyone. How are we all doing today? Hello, hello, hello. Oh, it's hard not to feel good when buying and holding the best stack in the world. This is correct. I am here. How long was that delay? Too long is the answer to that. Good morning, Capote Joe. Sean Kingsdan, Cool Daddy. Renzer004. Starlight Luna. Smox Fox. All of you. Daniel Rock's first hot tub stream. Congratulations, Daniel. Welcome. The hot tub needs more coffee. Oh, cool, Daddy. Yeah, in regards to that crypto, I think so. But I was kind of thinking of it. I guess I was thinking of it in like terms of like, I assume that you mine the crypto vis-a-vis users on the network, right, Cool Daddy? So like, I would just put those like all over New York City. No, I was talking about kind of like having like self-contained mobile mining units that you could deploy over, high population areas with maybe you could get it all in a backpack, very very minimalist. What are we going to chat about today? I'm excited. Whatever you guys want. That's the point of this chat. This chat, if you haven't been in here before, I know some of you might be new. It's really just audience directed. I try to provide, deeper dives into things I don't have time to talk about on stream, and or answer whatever questions you guys have about the world of finance, technical analysis. Yeah, wherever I can provide my own personal insight. Is there gold in them their cities? Could be. Oh, Smox Fox, if you can get the correct number for that and publish it somewhere, maybe like not somewhere too public, but like if you can get the direct line for the trading desk at Fidelity, possibly like maybe in the one of the Dillionaire channel things, or maybe just like the Discord. Leak your DD you're working on. I know you guys want me to, but I can't. That would be in bad faith to the rest of the viewership. Maybe bad faith to everyone. Miss the last. Well, welcome to this one, Chris. Glad you're here, man. How about them cryptic tweets of yours? They mean something. I don't think anyone's come even remotely close. So clearly I'm not making my point very clearly. Was your mic drop tweet about you getting the end of day price right? No. I was just done for the day. That one didn't have any meaning. DD leak MOASS tomorrow. If not tomorrow, it's the next day. Interesting. Yeah, but don't you get like we'll talk about it outside of this because this is gonna be like a whole thing. But yeah, sure. Maybe if you want to write a DD, got it. DDs are great. Bull me your thesis, bro. I have an office near me to go if there's an emergency, but I'd love to know the number. DM me on Discord if you find it. Yeah. Is it going well? I don't know. It's philosophically a very, very tough thing. But and then we keep on incidentally uncovering more things, and that makes it even harder. In bad faith, a faith no more cover bands. Thanks, Pickle Morty. It is. I think going through this DD with people, I mean, I would say most of the DD team, for the ones of you that are in here, I can't thank you enough for your guys' time, passion, and commitment to what we're doing. But I never expected we would find so much so fast, so unobscured. It really, sometimes there's moments where it really takes you back or astounds you at just how unbelievably corrupt the financial markets are. But I say it's going well. In in some senses, Spectre Bravo, yes. Like the thing we're trying to prove seems provable. The data seems there. It's kind of the things that we've found along the way that are less less happy. We're definitely in a fraudulent system. The internet can be a great thing for reasons like this that you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, it allows information to come to light that would otherwise be suppressed. But that's a heavy burden. No, not bearish for us. Unfortunately, no. Man, that cough just won't go away this whole week. You're gonna be okay with what I'm learning? I guess. I mean, I'm fine. I'll say that to all of you here, that I am of a sound mental health and state of mind. I'm a pretty happy pickle. Anyway, what do we want to talk about? What's piquing people's interests? Let's dive into some shit. I'm starting to wake up. Heavy stuff can take a toll. Well, it's more that I just wish we hadn't found some stuff that we did find, and I wish we'd only found the things we were looking for. It's kind of it was just unfortunately through that process, other things were uncovered that maybe were better left covered. What am I cooking for the 4th? Fucking hamburgers and hot dogs, man. America. Yeah, I know about Snowden. I mean, there's a correlation, maybe. Uh, I, I don't know if it like really proves Snowden's stuff, but there's a correlation there that presents widespread systemic abuses. The cup and handle, are we gonna fall out of it if we don't go up on Tuesday? I mean, let's take a look at that. So, the answer to that is not really. I can show you guys why. I have learned over the few months that I've been doing this publicly that it's best to keep my predictions tight and accurate. But there is room for error on this cup and handle. Like, technically speaking, we could probably go as low as like that. It's kind of tough, actually. Maybe this would be here. Like, if this is the base, right? Then like that could be the range, right? I just didn't draw it that way because then people are gonna be like, what the fuck is that? But we do know that like the potential for them to short breakouts has existed in the past, right? And we've always been shorted before a breakout, evidenced here, here, the big one in back here in February without me scrolling the chart. Everyone's aware of the February drop down to 40. So this kind of like consistent downtrend that we're seeing here is not unusual before GME has a breakout, as they try to lower the price as much as possible before they know the period of time in which they have to cover. That sounds like what a friend of mine said that claimed to have info on GME. Said that if it were to come to light, it would all come tumbling down. Yeah. And I don't even think, the weirdest thing about it is I don't even think it was an intentional effect. It's hard to explain without doxing the DD, so I'll move on to other things. We're making brats. Brats are good. Oh man. got a deep thing going on with my voice right now. Worried about your safety? I think you need to let sleeping dogs lie. Maybe let them. I've thought about that. Yes. The danger in those types of scenarios really lay in naming specific individuals. As long as those individuals have plausible deniability, then you didn't name them, right? Hopefully. You guys can all bear witness to my statement, though. I have no suicidal intentions whatsoever and never have had. Quite fond of myself and life. Why be accurate when you can edit? Well, this isn't an edit. This is actually a band that would track, like, if you really want to do these, like, you can actually track the low, right? And that then would tell you your like breakout point. So like if the low were to occur on like the 9th, right? Then like you could track the breakout point from the 9th using, I mean, you'd have more data at that point with which to develop the breakout point. But like if like an algorithm was tracking a cup and handle, that's how it would be programmed to track it. I erased the Epic Pen stuff, but did it not show up? I'm sorry. God, that's such an annoying program, man. It just can't ever do anything right. Yes, I was just pointing out, like, shorting. Early May. Yeah. They drive the price down as much as they can, but it's always slightly higher than the time before it. Is it weird to have a Superstonk mod in your Discord? A little bit. I don't know. She seems cool. I don't really have a problem with her. As long as she's not trying to use it to like promote herself and create her own platform, because that's not cool. So, you know, keep an eye on that for me, guys. But other than that, I mean, that's fine. So we got 430K puts out of the money coming up on the 16th. Yeah. Here's a bunch of out of the money put out. I still am not 100% sure what that option volume actually entails. So, talking strategy for picking options for day swinging trades. Scanners give broad ideas, but what other criteria do you use to make your picks? So, okay, Sneezy Pooch, that's like a good topic. So my strategy for picking options over the underlying will generally have to do with two things. One will be the capital requirements of those of that underlying. So say there's a stock like Chipotle or Google or NVIDIA right now. Like these are very expensive per share stocks, right? Now, I don't want to spend, you know, like obviously it's still safer, but I don't have like 50K. Well, I do, but I don't want to spend 50K on a day trade, right? So I'm expecting a change in a stock that's super capital intensive like this. And I don't want to drop, you know, my whole account on buying not even that many shares, right? Like even if I spent all the money I have, including the money I have on GME, I wouldn't be able to pick up that many shares of NVIDIA, right? And say I'm playing like a $5 move. Like that's a lot of risk, right? Because if that moves against me, it's really bad. And so in order to avoid the risk on a play like that, I will use options to oh god, fucking epic pen, dear lord. Already? Just that fast? It's gonna start. Piece of shit. So I'm protecting my capital with options in this instance. So we'll buy the options probably in the money, right? And then I get the advantage of having a leveraged position as well. And then the other reason that I would do this, reason number two, that I will play options on a trade or a day trade or a swing trade, is that I am very confident in the outcome. So this happened recently on NVIDIA. NVIDIA announced their and this actually, if you guys have been following along, I didn't do my research properly on this. I was very disappointed in myself, but it ended up working out because like the two things I knew were enough to make the play. It was just I should have done more research. I left a lot of money on the table because I didn't. But essentially, NVIDIA had an incoming split coming up. Splits are always a good play on popular companies, especially like NVIDIA. And the price had just approached its all-time high. So with this news of the split coming in, investors are going to be very excited for more liquidity flowing into the stock, right? And this all-time high being tested means that not only are options above that price moderately cheap, the move up could be quite drastic, right? Because there's no upper resistance past that point, right? And so FOMO can kick in and things like that. And NVIDIA at the time, I think, was trading at 650. It's now nearing like 900, I think. I haven't looked for a few days, but and it still hasn't split yet. And when it does, I think it's splitting 4 or 5 to 1. I'm not entirely sure still. But basically, so I bought options there because the technical indicators, like the long-term trend, showed that it was testing. It was at its all-time high. There was an incoming stock split. It's a blue chip stock, so like investors are gonna pile in to get on the front side of like that priced in split, right? Um, and so I bought there. I think I sold when the stock was at like 725. But you know, that's $7,500 per contract. So this ended up being a very good play. I mean, obviously, if I'd dragged it out longer, I would have made a ton more money. But that's another reason you play options, and you're highly confident of the outcome. I also played 650s, like right at the money. I didn't take any like out of the money risk on that. I could have, but I didn't. And so that's probably the second reason I would use options. I kind of talked about this over on the Discord, but maybe some of you guys are Long Johnsons and you didn't hear about it. Don't use options to become a degenerate gambler. It's a very slippery slope. I've seen many people fall prey to it and lose all their money. Treat them like they're there to steal your money. The trading volume of the whole market is usually lower during July, August. How will this impact the GME situation, in your opinion? Armin von VWAP, it won't. Not at all. The lower volume is not going to matter. I know it's a seasonal volume dip as everyone kind of steps away for the summer. Mostly just less people trading, less people utilizing the markets during this time of year. But yeah, not concerned with that as far as its effect on the GameStop thesis. I'll take a deal for you. Thanks, True State. What did I miss? Well, you can rewind and then watch at like 1.5 speed and you'll catch up momentarily. Ben. I was kidding about the edit. Have you considered contacting the SEC? I have. But that's kind of like dragging your sheep to the wolf's den. I don't know how I feel about that. Cool, Daddy. Thanks, Austinadian. Not much, Johnny Diamond Hands. Just another week. Yeah, I could run post split too. I mean, it's been a very expensive stock for a long time, so I'd imagine people will want to get on board, especially with NVIDIA's like plans moving forward. They're not my favorite company, like from a like ethical perspective, I guess. I prefer AMD. I like the underdog in that situation, but they're on solid ground, and definitely a profitable company with a lot of potential future profits, as they have started to deploy a lot of their capital recently in order to avoid inflation. So yeah, it'll probably run post split too. It might have a dip for a little bit, but then it'll go up, I think. Should crowdfund for a better pen for Kirk. But I have my $19 Amazon pen. It's so classy. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of software that replicates Epic Pen. Like, I'd use an alternative software if I could find one. $8.19 ended on Friday. Yeah, so there's a chance it approaches 900 before the split. You know, so this is something again that I feel like this kind of pissed me off the other night, and I got into a conversation with some other guys about this, but like, me and a bunch of my friends are all, our education is based in finance, specifically in the markets, and there's things that they don't teach, and I don't know if that's to create a sense of, like, I don't know if they kind of just want you coming in dumb. I'm not really sure how I can explain, like, the lack of transparency on the education side for finance, to this day. Like, you learn nothing about trading at all in school. Like, academic finance is focused on value investing, and not really so much on moving money around, as more on how and where to park it. And I realized that was a silly game to play unless you already had a lot of capital, which, so it's great for wealth management, but atrocious for capital building. The option contract split information is not something that I'm super privy to. I feel like it can be looked up, but I've never held an option contract through either a reverse split or a split. Usually splits occur after I think quarterly options expire. The split will occur, but I'm not sure what day NVIDIA split is on. Is it after the 16th? But yeah, I think the option, you would just have 5 contracts, like, or 4 contracts, or whatever their ratio of split is. It would just multiply the number of contracts you have and reduce your strike price by uh the amount, like that amount, like 1/5 or 1/4, or multiply it by 0.25. How would one learn about options properly? Self-study is probably the best way. There's some books on options which aren't terrible, but I have to find them because I haven't read them in about 5 years. Like, the information, that's kind of another issue, that I can see myself running into if I continue to do this into the future, is that a lot of the information that you can get isn't applicable. Like, it's not information that you're going to use, right? And so it's hard to find a line where, like, I can make that process more efficient in an educator role myself, right? Like, how do I determine what needs to be known and doesn't? And then also people trade differently, and like there's people that have more insight into parts of the market than I do because I trade one way and they trade another, right? But yeah, YouTube's an excellent resource. Investopedia always, especially for basic options information. Like some people play a lot of like options, like reduction option strategies. I don't. Like straddles and iron condors and things like that. I've used them occasionally when I saw like a very obvious place for them. So I won't say that information's useless. But I know guys that basically only trade multi-leg strategies, whereas I trade kind of just single leg strategies, like up down. But that's because of my technical analysis, right? Like I'm using technical analysis to reduce my risk, whereas they're using options plays to reduce theirs. Kirk prefers AMC. Thanks, Cornub. Could you try G Ink instead of Epic Pen? Okay, I haven't heard of that one, but I'll check it out. Yeah, possibly. I think there's an issue with Epic Pen and the AMD drivers specifically. I think that's the issue I'm running into. And I didn't have it. If I actually turn off one of my monitors, I don't have the issue. So it's like a dual monitor issue as well. All business school. The fact that I didn't learn how to do a VLOOKUP or a pivot table in Excel prior to my first internship is ridiculous. Yeah, right. I mean, like, if you're working on the office side of business, like they really kind of just kick you out in the dark. And I think this is like a lot of the problem with higher education in America is not that it's valueless, it's just that the value it provides is dated. Like, have I used fucking Calc 2 ever? No. I took it, but I've never used it for anything. I've never used any theoretical mathematics. I think the furthest, like in business practice, like maybe the furthest I've gone into math was like point slope formula or quadratics, which is like shit you learn in high school. That's the question. The contract becomes upgraded to represent the new number of shares. Single contract representing 400 shares. Okay, but what about the strike, Cornub? That's what I was actually wondering about. Yeah, absolutely, Starlight. And there is a place for them if you intend to be a trader or pursue trading part time as another, like a second job. Um, I have a lot of friends that trade, you know, maybe 2 days a week as their second job, right? Or use it as a like an income generator vis-a-vis things like the wheel strategy. Um, so there's a lot of ways to use options, but I guess knowing all the ways is best. Isn't the problem with Epic Pen due to your AMD GPU? Easy fix, buy a new GPU. LOL. Yeah, I got lucky in that I got my GPU slightly before the new like the new ones came out. My GPU's worth I think like 5 times what I paid for it right now. I kind of UVXY reverse split recently and it hurt. Reverse splits are terrible. Yeah, I think I wasn't holding UVXY contracts at that time. I stopped playing the VIX like a few weeks ago and just decided to start hedging instead of trying to just profit off market volatility. So we're looking at a nice bounce for next week on GME. Probably Elon. It's looking pretty good. But I do suspect that we may bounce as far out as like here, right? Like that's a possibility. I don't think so. I think we'll stay very much within line. I think next Monday could be a very interesting day. Sounds like memory misallocation or filing the video memory unnecessarily. Probably. It'll just work and then it'll slow down and then it'll crash. And I'm not really getting any data from the crash report that I know how to read. So, and I can't seem to find too much information on it on the internet. Yeah, everything was dated by the time you graduated. Starlight, yeah, it happens. Samosa, I felt like calc was more useful in teaching ways to think analytically rather than ever actually applying it. Yeah, I agree. I would say that was the benefit of it, but there's a lot of like it teaches you how to think analytically, mathematically, but there's other ways to derive conclusions that maybe get glossed over. I've never used my degree once in over 20 years. That's another thing too. I mean, if you're ambitious enough, I still think that if you are truly an ambitious person and you got some good wits about you, you can go pretty far without one. But it does give you a backup plan, which is valuable. Risk averse, right? You said there might be some wealthy retail investors on the sideline waiting to jump in. What are they looking for before jumping? Dan, eggs, chips, and Dan. They are looking for a run up. They are looking to FOMO in on the floor we've held, right? So like for big investors, real big ones, they have tons of research teams. I'm sure they're well aware of the narrative on Superstonk. They can see in the price action probably the same things I can see, and that the liquidity has dried up, which means that all the stock is owned, right? And no one's selling it. So they can use us sort of as their puppet to hold the floor. And then when the price starts to go up, they can come in. They also don't want to be the trigger, right? If there's already a trigger, why be the trigger, right? Why have that light on you? You just want to make money. You don't want to as a long fund, like you don't want attention or PR. Look how long everybody went around not knowing who the fuck Citadel was, right? And now everyone's like, oh my god, Citadel. And that's exactly why long funds don't want attention. They want attention from the people that matter to them, which are their rich clients, but they don't want attention from the press, the news, regulatory bodies. And triggering MOASS brings attention from all of those things. And maybe this play wasn't illegal, but maybe another one was. You know, it puts them in a precarious position, and they're all about not being in those. Also, early 2000s, I learned more about bonds and accounting than anything close to trading stocks. Yeah, I learned about a lot of bonds. And while the bond market is huge, I never play it because I'm poor, relatively. And so, like, I've just never used any of that. I've probably forgotten more than I even learned about the bond market. Market research data analyst here. I mean, they still teach traders on the job, trading desks. They hire those guys from anywhere, right? You go in and you do your series, and you get thrown on a desk, and they throw you some capital. But like, and if you're good, you know, you get promoted. But like all of that is taught on the job. None of it really taught at school. I mean, the master's I'm getting, or I want to get, which is a master's in financial engineering, is probably the closest you could get to actual information on trading, and even it misses the mark. Okay, this is divided by the split ratio. That's what I thought, Cornub. Thank you. I mean, Tuesday the 6th or the next Monday the 12th is very interesting. Nice try, H deck. The market's closed on Monday, yeah. I don't have a degree yet. I'm the IT admin. That sounds about right. Especially if you're at a company that doesn't really do IT, right? Like they're not a tech company. It's very easy to move into like a head IT position with little to no experience. I mean, all you're really doing is like Googling computer problems, right? Like you know how to Google better than other people. Like if all else fails and like your knowledge falls by the wayside, someone had to have fixed that same problem at some other time, right? And talked about it. Memory leak in the app, possibly. Yeah, that's what it seems like because of its like progressive shitty, like progressive lagging. Like it gets worse and worse. You need to show them this cup and handle. Show who? What triggers are there in the near future? Big ones, but they're not the fundamental catalysts that people expect, I don't think. Example, you say on the Discord that the price for rig could go to 525 or even 7, but I think you sold before it ever went to 5. How did you choose entry, exit, strike, OPEX? No, I had a long-term trend that I was looking at and previous resistances, snoozy. And so I determined that I would be looking at those resistance levels for a breakout. It did in fact break out after I exited, but then was rejected near the higher end of that breakout where the next resistance was. And so I bought $4.50 strikes, near in the money when I purchased. So I purchased late after posting that because I got caught up with the stream, which kind of actually was just lucky. And then when it failed the test, my stop loss triggered. But I was up. I was up like 50 cents per contract. Or per share, right? So some company guidance leading into FOMO, then it'll just run. No, but there's a possibility that they announce things in tandem, right? Like I've always said, like the more fuel, the bigger the fire, right? It's just, I think that's ultimately the way MOASS will play out. It will be a series of things kind of coalescing at the same time. Do you stay away from the bond market because it requires a lot of money to play in it? For the most part, yeah. I would probably go and re-educate myself on it more if I had a lot more capital. What do you mean, nice try? You said next Monday looks to be very interesting. Well, I mean, in the technical analysis pattern, it looks like that we're approaching a bounce for next Monday to move into the upside of the cup and handle. That's all H-Deck. I was just messing with you. Also, I'm possibly being a little bit overcautious about doxing the DD, right? Thanks. Did the price move as much as expected when joining the Russell 1000? It didn't. Neither down nor up. What do you make of it not having reached the share sale floor of 225? I think there's some bigger things going on. I think there's a reason that it couldn't. The retail investors on the sideline. Yeah, right. Well, I don't think they're going to put me on CNBC to talk about my cup and handle. What percentage of your trading capital is currently tied to GME? 93.67. Duke. Watched a bunch of videos on stop limits last week. Thank God MOASS has taken so long to give me time to learn and not mess up my exits. Awesome, Starlight. The biggest trigger is probably 007. You said Monday could be a crazy day. Is that based on the wedge and TA, or is that based in some part on your working theory? Oh, it's based on the TA. I was referencing the TA there. KO. Questions. I need more questions. I've run right out of questions, guys. And we still have a whole hour left. Tuesday, yeah. I meant Tuesday. Next market open day. Is that better? Yeah, it looks like we're driving right into a nice bounce. Should I quit my job yet? No. I can't advise you guys to quit your jobs. You know better. You can quit your job when you feel it's the right thing for you to do. Arbitrage on Tuesday, since the Euro market will be open Monday. There could be H-Deck. How significant it'll be, I don't know. How many people are on the DD team? I don't know. It's like more than 10? What's the DD about? I feel like you should know the answer to that question. What size are you around the chest for your bikini? Is the hot tub filled yet? I'd probably say like a 38 or 40 C. Probably fill a C cup. Any other plays I see for next week? Currently, no. Obviously, like if anything comes up Monday pre-market, I haven't done like my weekend research yet, KO, but like all of that would be posted in like the usual places and like day trading or options plays or the scanners channels on the Discord. Have you seen any viable DDs this week on Reddit we should take a glance at? Not yet. I like that guy who made a sound out of GME. That was fun. That was like the most fun DD I've seen in a while. I'm not good at DD, but if anyone needs their castle drawbridges maintained, I could handle a grease gun. Don't quit, get fired. Yeah, that's the best way. I was laid off. No, that doesn't count. A lot of people, including the manager, seeking other employment. Is that a sign to jump ship, or do you wait to possibly be laid off? I mean, I guess you'd wait, right? I guess it depends on what industry you work in, but like if you have an employment contract of any kind, like you'd wait for your severance package. Okay, following on, any ideas why joining the Russell 1000 has had so little impact? That's hard to say. It's something I'm looking at. It's a bit weird. I mean, we saw that impact last Friday, the Friday before last, with those, like that like 12 million volume that came in that day. That could have been. I mean, I'm sure that had to do with the Russell rebalancing. Maybe that's all it got rebalanced. That was the sum total of buy and sell. I have some underlying health issues, so I'll be keeping my job until I am certain. Yeah, absolutely, right? Like, why lose your medical insurance? Who's the best member of the DD team? Not even necessarily the best, the most talented, just the best. I mean, I'm in there. I'm pretty awesome. It's hard for me to look past that part. But no, they're definitely a group of diligent and hardworking pickles. Have you said when you expect your DD to drop? Nope. I haven't. See you later, knuckleballer. Have you thought about your last words before stopping streaming because of MOASS? No. I probably should put more thought into that. I've just been busy with other things. I was thinking about writing like a little speech even, you know. But maybe I'll just play it by ear. I feel like that'd be more authentic than if I wrote a speech. Who do you think would win in a fight? Your pickle army or Trade's ape army? Well, strategy would play a large role in that battle as they outnumber us 100-1. It would be a true Thermopylae event. Could we do it? Yeah. Just cut to black mid-scream. Window eggs. You asked that twice, Snoozy Pooch. That's not fair. I answered it the first time. I don't know. There's a lot of consideration that has to occur on that front that I have to think about it. Just say you're going to the store for smokes. Do it with pickle art. I've considered a speech. But I feel like if I write a speech, even if the speech is, you know, from the heart, it would have less meaning to me. I think the first thing I might do with my attendees is pay for a month of TradingView. I've never paid for TradingView, and I feel like they've made me a lot of money. And maybe that's not fair. Four scored 7 months ago, we all bought GME. You said you'll cut the stream when liquidation happens. How would that look different than a margin call? So forced liquidation is generally, I've only seen it on a couple stocks, but it is usually, and it usually centers around hedge funds failing and their positions being called. It's generally very high volume, very quick. How that's going to play out with GameStop, I'm still not sure. But that's what I'll be looking for is like an extreme jump in volume and sort of a constant uptrend. It'll be sad that this is gone, but life moves on. I'm sure you were all sad when you like didn't hang out with your friends from high school anymore. But that's just life, right? TradingView is probably tracking our data behavior and selling it. I'm sure. So FOMO is going to have a lot of like up down price action, right? So we're going to see the stock go like this. Like and maybe even some of these are deeper, right? Whereas forced liquidation is just going to be like this. We saw what looked like a margin call on BBBY that one time. I think I posted the video of it. But essentially it's just there's no sell pressure, right? FOMO is like still a very big psychological event. People are getting in, people are getting out. It's kind of all over the place. It's very sloppy. Margin calls are straight up. Howdy, JC. How you doing, man? Is retail in any danger of anything? In some ways. It depends on the retail investor. I mean, if you're referring to GME shareholders, no, I think they're in a pretty good position. Shareholders elsewhere, possibly not. Which I mean, is the majority of retail shareholders are in other things. And that's not looking so promising. What if we have a pickle reunion one day long after MOASS? Maybe. S.S.D.D. As long as it's not in fucking Australia. I thought those were the indicators for a margin call as well. Will this be some epic levels of volume? Yeah. It'll be pretty insane. I think Volkswagen during its run up had like 20, 30 million traded on the 1 hour, like per candle. Like during like that margin call phase. Didn't have $1 million bills to wipe my tears with when I stopped hanging out. Yeah, with my high school friends. That's true. You did. It's in the VOD, BBBY. Okay, thank you, Ryan. Yeah, so if you guys want to check out kind of what a like forced liquidation looks like, I'm pretty sure that's what occurred there on BBBY. A small position, albeit, but a forced liquidation nonetheless. Yeah, that's why I'm staying for FOMO, because that's gonna be the part where people paper hand when it, jumps to 1,000 and drops to 800 and then jumps to 1,200 and comes down, hits like 7 and then jumps to 1,500, and like that part is definitely the psychological part of the whole thing, right? Because you're like, oh fuck, that's it, it's coming down, it's over. But it's like it's not, and so I'm gonna hang out for that part. But it could be that the only thing we see is forced liquidation. That there is no time for FOMO. Because if I were them and I were in their position the way I now understand it, I would just buy. I would leave no room for FOMO to front run me. Even then, though, there's no chance. Yeah, I guess they just wouldn't, because there's, even then, like, even if they could somehow buy past FOMO, it's not going to lower the floor. Too deep. Does the info you've gathered for the DD make you more bullish for GME than you were previously? No more bullish, as, like, obviously I was already 93.47 or 67% there. But definitely way more understanding, or more confirmed understanding. I mean, this was like, I originally developed the theory a while back, and I've just kind of added pieces as we've moved along. And being on YouTube and actually at like the forefront on Reddit has given me access to, like, probably a lot of information I would have not seen otherwise, which has been awesome. For those of you guys that, like, kind of reach out to me with DD and stuff, I know I get annoyed, but ultimately it has been a benefit. I just think that, like, not a lot of people out there have had the market knowledge to tie that information together until we did. And it's definitely confirmed doubts I had. It's created new ones. It's interesting, to say the least. Info you've gathered for the DD make you to have that answers your question. I become Dan, destroyer of your VWAPs. Thank God that wolf comment scared me. It should have. What are your thoughts on Dave Lauer's new data platform, Irvin Finance? I think he's just trying to make money, which is, you know, what I assume most people are trying to do, especially people who work in finance. If it's truly democratic, easily available data for the masses, awesome. Market transparency is something I advocate for as a trader always. I think our markets should be transparent. Pure. Oh my God, TA would be so fucking accurate in a transparent market. Although it'd probably become more of like a 9-to-5 job than a, like, the pay rate would drop. Other than all-time high, can you share why you're bearish on SPY? Yeah, the Schiller index is also at an all-time high. The P&E and P&D ratios for the SPY are at or above the level that they were at in the dot-com bubble. Chop, general weakness. Confirming technical trends on top of that information, and that, like, it seems to be unable to reestablish itself in its long-term trend. The government can always throw money at the market to keep it running a bit longer, though, and that's really the risk of playing the bear side of a bull market, right? Is that, like, you might have to play a bit long. But ultimately, the bond market is already beginning to pad inflation into yield, which is something you guys can look up separately. I'm not going to dive into that. You can see the effect of inflation in the commodities market. You can see the effect of inflation in our goods and services already. And when the Fed decides to be honest about that inflation, I think they are going to go up higher than they have previously predicted. And when that happens, the market will come down hard.
You can also see it in some of the moves that the banks are making, increasing their dividends, loaning out money, attempting to turn liquid assets or liquid capital into long-term assets to ride this out. Same with reverse repo, right? That's probably a place where reverse repo has more importance than it does on GameStop. Pickle, are you even minorly jacked for the 14th? I don't care. So if I was, it would be because my cup and handle breaks out there and not because of some cryptic NF. Like, I drew the cup and handle before they ever said shit about the NFT thing, right? So, but yeah, I don't, they haven't built a substantial blockchain marketplace in 2 months. Given that they're still hiring for many of those positions, they might have an announcement of what they intend to do, maybe like a forward-looking statement, but that doesn't cause MOASS. Other things could, but not that. Snoozy Pooch. I guess you didn't want me to see that. You should still keep the Discord post MOASS if you're willing. I'm going to keep it up during MOASS, but I'm going to lock the invites. So no new people in. No invites will be able to be given by anybody that is in there. And if I feel that the discussion is leaning towards anybody pressuring anybody to sell, if I see any disclosure of position, gain or loss porn, I will add this to the rules in due course. But if I see any of that, I will shut the entire Discord down. But timeline for running up and length of peak, hours, days. So the up could be faster. The peaks will still take a while. Like, if there's enough bid ask spread on a liquid stock, you don't really have this issue. The run would be, very easy to be, mathed out. You could figure out how long it would take to reach price X. Because of the illiquidity on GME and unavailability of shares, I suspect that the price could go up much, much faster. But at the peaks, would slow down due to most likely a switch to manual trading. Could it all happen in a day? Unlikely. At least 2 or 3 days. That's like my minimum till we start to see a downside to it. And at maximum, I mean, if there's aspects of the infinity pool theory that touch on things that are probable or possible at least, and that we could see some of that play out near the end of the peaks, as if it drags on too long. That really depends on the number of locked shares. I don't know how much time I'll have if I'm going to say goodbye or just go dark. If I have time to say goodbye, I will. If I feel like that's going to impact me financially, then I will just go dark. JC. Because unfortunately, as much as I love you guys, there's a lot on the table. When institutions start selling off their riskier holdings like GME. Maybe. Does it matter? Who gives a shit? Not enough stock exists to get rid of the shorts. So it doesn't matter who sells. I'm telling you, I'll tell you this, guys, 100 times. It absolutely does not fucking matter who sells the stock. We do not care about paper-handed bitches. They are irrelevant to us. Everyone spends so much time worrying about who's going to sell without considering the fact that there aren't enough shares to sell to impact the short position. Thanks, not a bit. No, not at all. Wall Street Bets went private. Interesting. What was the Wolf comment? That bringing my DD to the SEC would be the equivalent of bringing the sheep to the wolf's den. Based on what you found, what is your confidence level that MOASS will occur within the next couple of months? Unfortunately, at this time, Ramrod, that's not something I can disclose. Pig to the slaughter, yeah. Bias confirmed. Thank you, VWAP Cap Guy. The sheep is not the short hedge funds. The SEC is. And the long hedge funds and all the hedge funds, because the SEC is a revolving door for Wall Street professionals. They do not have the interests of the retail investor at heart. I don't care how you guys feel about Gary Gensler, who has spent much of his time educating the current financial class of people, of the people working in the finance industry. He has educated many of them. He is also, not without blood on his hands. You should clip that Bearish SPY monologue and put it on the channel. Possibly. Does anybody know what time it was at? Whatever. I am attempting to use the tweets to convey something that I cannot say. Bullish on Girk's Pelican Brief. Wouldn't cascading margin calls lead to a longer run up? Yeah, possibly. There could be mostly I'm discussing, JC, the bid ask spread. So I'm talking about not the length of time that it runs up, right? It could still run up for a very long period of time, but I'm talking about the price action in that run up could increase dramatically step to step. So I know there's a halt at 5%, right? But it can jump, it can gap up those halts, right? So if the stock gaps up, we could see the price reach very high levels very, very fast. Does everyone understand? Let me know, and I will discuss more on that if you guys need me to. I discussed it a bit yesterday on stream, but if you guys need more information on that, I'm glad to share it. Could you just stream the MOASS for members? It would also be a great financial opportunity. I cannot. I absolutely would never do that to everyone else, first of all, that isn't a member. Second of all, I need my bandwidth to execute my trades. hypothetical, you've said you plan to reinvest in the presumably cheaper market. Do you plan to do it right away if the market crashes at the same time as MOASS, or you find lawyers, CPAs first? I would do it right away. I will not, if they occur simultaneously, the market crash and MOASS, I will be immediately shopping with those funds, not only to secure them somewhere outside of my brokerage in case of any issues, but also because I don't want to miss the sale. The sale on the market does generally not last a long time. It is definitely a first come, first serve type of scenario. B of A is suing Reddit and Wall Street Bets. For what? Because they bought a shitload of calls or presumed their crash. Tourist to Australia. Yeah, that's right, Osnadian. Don't ever go backpacking in Australia, especially through the outback. Weird shit happens to people. Oh, whatever. I don't care if you guys can see the analytics page. It's not relevant. There's no like doxing information on there. It's just a chart of current active viewers. I think intentionally there's no information on that page. Are all the tweets referencing one thing, or is it something playing out? It's something playing out. They are tied together, except for the mic drop. I was just done for the day. So you can disregard the mic drop tweet. I just found a cool video of a Dan dropping a mic, and I was like, this is perfect. But the rest of them mean something. You guys don't need to get all, you don't need to get too crazy with deciphering it. I imagine that I will get more on the nose as time goes on. 113.10. Okay, thank you. I'll write that down somewhere. I'll just write it here. I'll clip it after. That has nothing to do with front running, Luke. So Luke, there's two sides to that. So you're tweeting to hint at things you cannot say, but why can't you say it? Not to be front runned, or is there anything else? I don't care about the front running aspect. Most of my position in GME is locked in, as is most of retails. If people have the capital to front run, it's not a lot. I'm not particularly worried about that. It's that I don't know. Not 100% sure of the theory, right? Like it still has yet to be fully proven. And so I err on the side of caution with that. And then second, I don't know if it's information that should be spread, and that's something that I'm internally mulling over. JC, thank you for the $1. Discuss that more, please. I just did. Yeah, I know. My YouTube analytics are showing. So gapping up from, say, 1,000, halt, jump to 3,000. Yeah. So if the bid-ask spread is great enough and algos are driving the buy side, right, then gap ups are almost a certainty. Super chat failure? What? It worked. It came up. It's right there. Oh, what did you want to say? So even though you have to go dark quickly, it still would be a likely prolonged waiting game, right? Yeah. Yeah, if I have to go dark quickly, the waiting game could still drag out quite some time. I feel I've given everybody the information that they need to proceed with this. I hope you feel confident in that information. If you don't, continue to research, continue to learn, build on that confidence and in your knowledge, because that will be the thing that saves you through this event. I'd take a more in-depth explanation. I missed yesterday's stream. Okay, yeah, sure. So essentially what can happen is like, say you have bid, like everyone's seen the order book, right? You have bid and ask. Say you have bid here at like 201, or ask is 201.50. If someone buys a share at market, the price of the stock will move up to 201.50, right? Now, say your ask side is like 201.50, 202, 203, 250, 300, 5,000, right? Say this is your ask side, and this is 1,000 shares on ask. Now obviously, like, WeBull doesn't give you visibility into all of the ask orders, but this is just an example. It's that information's not relevant to how this plays out. So say somebody comes in with a bid at market for 10,000 shares, right? Well, these 1,000 shares are immediately gone, so now the price is $5,000 because they've hit the highest ask. There's no more, like in this scenario, the ask side just got bought up. It's gone, right? And so the price will immediately go to the highest ask because that was the last sold share, right? And so that's how it gaps up. This is kind of something that you see very often in pre-market. For those of you guys that pay attention to that, you'll see it'll be like, it'll trade at 200, like say it's at like 213 cents, and then all of a sudden a share sells at 214, and you'll see this like big candle like this, right? But then like the high is 214, and then like the next trade will be like lower, right, as like other ask comes in. But like because of the low liquidity, you'll see this happen in pre-market pretty often. Oh crap, it was 113. Kirk, I really dig your integrity when it comes to certain things you say and do not say. Probably the only YouTuber I've come across with this non-pandering attitude. I try. It's hard. Monetarily, you're incentivized to not act the way I act, and so it's tough. But I do my best. I don't plan on this, being a long-term thing or even like the thing I do with my life, right? So I guess I have a different agenda than most YouTubers, and that insulates me from corruption in a way. If this was my like long-term career goal, like if I was going to be like, oh, I'm going to be a live streamer, I'm going to be a YouTuber, I would be more successful at it, but I would also be similar to, maybe not the same, but very similar to the other guys, right? I would talk about AMC. I'd kind of carry that nonplussed attitude all the time, where it's like, you just don't incite any drama or discussion, or I would create an echo chamber. because that would be beneficial to me, right? And in order to propagate my own dialogue. But yeah, not what I want to be. Thanks, Astro Gal. Full market ETFs or individual stocks? Individual stocks, possibly mutual funds. REITs are a big one for me, especially if there's like housing issues on the backside of that. Banks, if they tank. I disagree. There's a chance of a prolonged recession leading to a relatively long period of market decline, especially since this is paying the debts of 2008 and 2020. So Cornub, here's the thing about that though, is that that could happen, but the sale, the low, will be immediate. In a market crash, the lowest point will be immediately, because there are industries that will thrive on the back of depressed economy, right? So the lowest point will be at the crash. But we'll see. I mean, it is unlike, if it were to occur, it would be unlike previous events. Probably closer to what happened in 1929 than like what happened in 2008. So yeah, there could be a very long, but there are companies that do well or are primed to do well in that economy, right? In a long bear economy. But the longest bear market has been 9 months historically, I think. How do you get such lovely curvy hash lines on your WeBull? Dr. K, this is TradingView. WeBull doesn't have some of these tools, and that's why I used TradingView to draw this. I'm gonna get rid of this though, because it's ugly. That makes me angry. Oh yeah, I'm dropping tweets too, Elon. Someone's got to do things on Twitter besides pump crypto. No, I didn't know the people working on the DD previously. They are all people that signed up to help, and they have done an insane number. They've completed an insane number of man hours thrown into this project between them all, for no compensation, and truly the heroes of the whatever story we end up presenting. And most of the conclusions we came to in the initial stages, because we were so disorganized, were also those points of data were come to independently, one group from another. So is hedging against inflation something that people should be planning for? Probably. I mean, I can't comment on that directly because that would be like financial advice. But yeah, there's a good chance that people should be prepared for inflation. The indicators are there. I'd rather be prepared for inflation right now than not prepared for it. I'd also be prepared for a downtrend in the housing market, as that's something that could concern some of you, or possibly, I don't know. What do you do in a bad housing market? I don't know shit about real estate. I guess you refi. Do your construction and repairs now, as they will be priced in at a pre-inflation price, right? Whatever additions or things you want to make nice. I don't know that much about houses. Ironically, not that bad at doing like contracting work, but I don't know anything really about remodel, refurbish. I don't know what you do to a house. One of those things. I've never owned one. I couldn't tell you. I meant to super chat that your analytics were showing, so you saw it. Oh, thanks, JC. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing on that page that's gonna dox me in any way or anything like that. MOASS candles would reflect the exit you explained. The last clip with stop limits. They should, yeah. Unfortunately, no, Dr. K. I don't think so. I've thought long and hard about what I could and couldn't talk about during MOASS and where I could where I need to protect not only myself financially, but from a litigious point of view, there's also risk, right? And so, no, dark is the best way. No, JC, that's a misunderstanding of the way margin risk limits work. If the amount of money needed cannot be obtained by the fund, if it exceeds their capital allocation or their assets under management, that lender is going to force liquidate them immediately. There is not going to be any waiting period. Do you understand that? Because they are going to defer their loss instantly. They're not going to let the stock climb for 5 more days or 3 more days or whatever is like. They have a clause in their contract that protects them against catastrophic loss. So you could see them getting margin called and liquidated immediately on the spot. So maybe even just skipping the margin call step, right? I'm really interested in watching you day trade, like how you do it, etc. I know you put it aside for streaming, but it'd still be educational to see whether you win or lose. I win mostly. I have a pretty good win rate so far. Sometimes I feel like I focus more on my win rate than I do on just making money. And I feel like that might make me a little too conservative sometimes year over year, but I like to win. So it's tough. Thank you, KO. I appreciate that, man. That means a lot. And you get such lovely curly hash lines on your perm. Well, it was a good time. What might happen to retirement accounts if the market crashes? Well, traditionally not good things, right? Refi, but not with variable rate loans. Yeah. So you'd want to refi into a fixed rate before inflation hits. That way the The mortgage is priced in before inflation. That'd be smart, especially with banks wanting to loan out money, right? It might be something I would do if I had a house, or I would look into strongly. Fortunately for me, the only asset I really have to protect is cash, and that's not that hard, honestly. You tweet a rocket pickle when you go dark. Close the gap anymore. Any more pre-MOASS? It's affecting my price targets. It is. They are nearing. They're closer than I think than they've ever been. I don't really pay that much attention to exchange, but I guess you guys have to if you're international. It doesn't matter if they're settled in time to buy the dip. You can buy with them immediately. You just can't sell until they're settled. Andrew. If you have a cash account. If you have a margin account, you can do both right away. But yeah, late today, did you see WSB went private? I did. Hedgy FUD checklist, now that I think about it. Whatever. I don't care about hedge fund FUD. It's irrelevant. The shorts haven't covered. That's all anybody needs to know. No one needs to worry about FUD or psychological tactics they're attempting to employ. Digging into those makes you susceptible to them. Just ignore it. Who gives a fuck? Wall Street bets is down. Oh no. What are some signs we should look for to inform us of a potential market crash? Probably the market crashing. That's usually the big signal. I went over earlier in the video around 1 hour 13 minutes. My like kind of bare thesis on where the market stands right now. Dr. K, if you want to go back and take a look at that, or just check out the VOD. I'll post it after. Weeks, months, years. Tasty tendies. I don't know. Not much longer, I don't think. Do I have a list of tickers you want to? Yeah, I do. Am I sharing that list? No. Find your own investments. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm just a dude that streams shit on YouTube. Yeah, I kind of went over it with the stream around that time, Dr. K. Thanks as always. Enjoy the long road. Come later, H-Tech. We got about 11 more minutes left if you guys want to get any other questions in on this long weekend before our split till Tuesday morning. You're planning on being a millionaire or a billionaire? If I play my cards right, I could be a billionaire. Will that happen? Only time will tell. That'd be cool, though. Maybe in the Tres Comas Club. Should be a significant improvement from the Un Comas Club. I'm in real rush. More time to buy shares. A little bit, yeah. What's VOD? Video on demand. So after the stream ends, I post this video immediately into the community channel for you guys to watch in your own free time. Will you do TA in a private Discord of the bottom of market crash? I won't. Nope, nope, nope. Give you a specific date or just a time frame? Both. Zimmer. What kind of conditioner do you use, financially speaking? I don't really condition my hair. I don't like it being greasy. I'm Italian. My hair gets greasy quickly enough. I don't feel that the addition of conditioner helps that. How should I prepare an octopus that I got for dinner today? You got to scrape the little pads and get those all nice. And then you probably want to chuck that bad boy over some fire. Marinate it, a little olive oil, herbs, seasoning. Let it soak for a bit, but then, get it over a nice hot fire. Get a good char on it. Don't overcook it because it just turns into rubber. Maybe finish with some olive oil and fresh herbs. Not cooking advice, but do you think parking money in Europe is an okay hedge against inflation? That option is very available to me. No, because Europe is also good. If America experiences inflation or significant inflation, every world economy will follow suit, and probably worse, right? Have you ever had on pizza pickles? I think you posted that, like the like pork and pickle pizza. It looked interesting. I'm in the negative comma club. That's called 100 Air, Canadian Ape. Yeah, I think it'll bounce around while people buy back in. The sell pressure could drive the price really low, and then it can bounce back post MOASS. That may be the lowest point in GME's forward-looking price history post MOASS. Will be that point directly after the squeeze ends or is done. That may be the lowest price it gets to. Buying new shares when you have extra capital? If yes, why? Well, I mean, I've been employing my extra capital in other ways to hedge against inflation, to pay my bills, So, yeah, I mean, I mostly completed my purchasing of GME back in February, like what I intended to buy. I've bought more since then, but when I thought it was right to buy, also just for like a bit of fun on stream, because I had like $200 to lose or $180 to lose. Thanks, Dan, Eggs, Chips, and Dan. You have a good weekend too, buddy. A private channel open. So, like, if the rules get broken in the general chats and not in the members chat, would I keep? I mean, if I take the Discord down, I have to take down all of it. Smox. You guys should all really be considering not speaking to anybody during this. Like I've told you all a million times, write out that list, what your goals are, what you intend to do, how you intend to exit whatever position you have, and stick to that list. But I really can't emphasize enough that, like, you shouldn't be talking to anybody. You don't need that layer. The psychology of this event is hard enough. Reaching out to others, even for support, I think is a mistake. It was. I'd be banned if you found out that I'm a long Johnson, but my Johnson was actually small. A long Johnson has nothing to do with the size. Unable to Dan. That's how you use it. That's all that matters. It's the Long Johnson energy. Girls can have Long Johnsons. Boys can have Long Johnsons. It's metaphysical or metaphorical. Is AMC involved at all? In a way. In a way, not. Is AMC the same play? No. I've never been more sure of that. How about some videos giving up your day trading strategies post MOASS? Some of us are going to have capital to step into the things more seriously. Well, hopefully you guys have enough capital that day trading would be off the table. Like possibly swinging, but ideally long-term investing. If you have enough capital, long-term investing is definitely the way to go. With the occasional swing. Like depends on how long your window is, but trading is not advisable for those who have a lot of capital, as then you're just gambling. You're just a gambler. Because if your capital base is high enough, then you're just throwing away money you can afford to throw away, which is not investing, right? That's not what we're here for. But I'll think about it. If we sent you our CV applying for the super cool DD club, will you safeguard our privacy, right? Absolutely, JC. As a matter of fact, I already ported all of those messages to an encrypted file and deleted the metadata. So everyone should be safe. The Discord itself is encrypted. So everyone should be fine. I wouldn't worry on that front. I'm gonna ensure that no one is doxxed. Not really needing to speak to anyone, but a big piece of my lurking around will be missing, and I will be sad. I'm sorry, Smoxfox. Sad's something that I think you'll deal with a lot better when you have millions of dollars. Send it to the wife and her boyfriend. Get a metaphysical Johnson flare on Superstonk. Do you still have the same ceiling for AMC that you've had? Pretty much. Could it exceed that ceiling a little bit? But its room to grow, I think, is very limited in relation. Just keep a fun account if you want to play around still, I guess, but that's just gambling. Playing around. I don't have any respect for people that waste money in the markets. It's if you have that kind of money, there's better ways to allocate your capital. And I would not be a trader, right? Like at that point. See you later, Ausnadian. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in for another one of our hot tub streams. I appreciate all the support from you guys as members. You are a big part of what keeps this channel up and running. And thank you so much for that. I will continue to try to provide you with the best information that I have. And hopefully I don't let you guys down. Thank you all so much. Have a happy 4th and a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.